Boom! There it is, ladies and gents. We are ready to rock and roll on my favorite day of the week, SHIT. So happy it's Thursday. And man, has it been a crazy day, but we're going to get this show going anyway. So here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, let's do this thing.
Just to share this on your favorite day of the week. Just want to share that real quick.
SHIT, so happy it's Thursday.
Because that didn't come up, and that's on me. All right, all you business pros out there, before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time, and don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Today's guest has discovered a widely overlooked and underutilized secret to growing your business, attracting more clients, and earning more income. This untapped goldmine is a little something our guest calls joint ventures, and he's teaching people everywhere that they are what they are and how you can use them to grow your business today. Our guest has spent his lifetime dedicated to facilitating great business relationships, and those business relationships are the secret to his success. Tune in today to hear how our guest learned the art and science of profitable partnerships and how you can gain access to an entire audience already interested in what you have to sell without spending any marketing dollars. Joining us today from JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. Welcome to the show, Jay Fiset.
And we get to attend a rave all in one.
Oh, that's how we do it. That's how we roll on the show. I mean, we love to have some fun when we're here.
That is freaking awesome.
It doesn't matter if I'm in my car talking on a mobile microphone. It's going to happen at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time nonetheless. And a quick shout out before we get started. Enrique, thanks for joining us on the show today. Who is Jay's assistant, right?
Yes, I was texting him in the car saying, he's like, I'm in traffic, it's bad, help, you might have to show up in my place for a minute. But I got here with a minute to spare, so it's all fantastic. No worries.
You beat me. I'm at City Hall. We're getting some plans submitted for some work we're doing on the house, and it's just taking longer than I thought it was going to do. But hey, we're here.
Awesome,
Jay,
awesome.
Let's start off with the very beginning, man. Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into this space?
Yes. In a nutshell, my background in history is about 26 years in the personal transformation space. So we basically put 40,000 people through these intense personal development events for the better part of 27 years. I got a little tired of that and thought, you know what? I want to do digital marketing. I got seduced by an email that says, hey, stay at home in your fuzzy slippers, drink your coffee or your wine, depending upon the time of day, send some emails and make millions of dollars. So I sold my building, I licensed my content, and I went to make great money online, which I'm willing to bet you and some of your viewers have also discovered that that's a little bit more difficult than it first appears. And
it sounds good.
It sounds exceptional. For about 3 years, I struggled trying to figure it out on my own. I burnt most of my money in a wheelbarrow in my backyard.
Yeah.
And then I decided I was going to hire some support. I joined a couple of communities, and we landed on something that was quite fantastic, which was a little bit of training I had done in my personal development company about masterminds. And we launched a brand called Mastermind to Millions. And literally, we went from $0 to $2.6 million US. I'm Canadian, by the way, so that means for a brief span of time, I was a billionaire in Canadian dollars. So we did $2.6 million in 14 months, just like that. And what transpired was we, then we're highly pursued. We're on the cover of a couple of magazines, stuff like that. And we kept getting asked, like, how the hell did you do that? And the short answer was joint ventures. And then people was like, can you teach me how? And it's like, no, we don't do that. That's not our gig. But fast forward 6 months, 7 months, and the 7,498th person that says, "Can you teach me?" I decided it might be wise to listen to the marketplace, and we started doing a high-level joint venture summit. There was such demand for people to attend that summit who didn't qualify that we ended up doing other basic joint venture trainings, and that has since evolved to JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. We do quarterly events called JVology Live that teaches the fundamentals and the foundations. We have digital programs like the Joint Venture Success System. We do one-year coaching programs where we hold people's hand and actually help build their joint venture business called Flow. And frankly, in the JV space, if you can think about it, if you've been wondering about it, we frankly do it and help people do it on a daily basis.
There's a lot of people out there who say they can help you, who want to become a quote joint venture with you. Doesn't necessarily always pan out. How do I know that the person I'm going off in this joint venture with is somebody that is going to help me go from 0 to 2 million in 14 months?
Hernan, how much time have you got? This is a big question, but I'll tell you our sort of filtering criteria, and then there's a key piece of content that we utilize that really makes a monumental difference. So first and foremost is this, and this might sound a little bit trite, but it is not, is do you like them as human beings? One of the core things in terms of, and here's just kind of a silly story. So this application only JV summit that we started with, which were, strong 6, generally low 7-figure entrepreneurs coming together to build relationships. And we had this application process to sort of, make sure we have the right folks there. And there was a lady who used to be a journalist in Canada who was just becoming an entrepreneur. She didn't really qualify, but she's smart as hell, and she's going to be a rising star. Anyway, we go through the whole application process, and I say to her at the end, it's like, Geeta, I'd love for you to come to the summit. And the line goes very quiet. And she says, now I'm worried. I said, why is that? And she goes, well, I don't qualify. And if you're letting me in, I wonder what other dingbats you're letting in.
Normally you'd be offended by that, right? Wait a minute. But she's looking at herself like, you know what? If I'm really the one looking for help in your group, and you have a bunch of people who are looking for help, how am I going to get the help I'm looking for? I want somebody. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I'm good with being the dumbest person in the room, so I can learn from people like you.
Correct. Exactly. And what I said to her is like, look, here's the deal. This is always capped at 30. In that room, you're going to find, 25 people who will kick your ass in the world of business. And you're going to find 3, 4, 5 rising stars. You're going to be one of them. And I always make space for that. And I said, and just so you're clear about this, no, your list is too small. Your business experience is too little. However, you have connections that we can leverage. You have a network that is incredibly powerful, and you have public awareness that we can put to work. You fit. You don't fit traditionally. But here's the real kicker. Out of all of the application stuff, here's what it boils down to. If you're going to come to my summit, would I invite you to my house to have a glass of wine and play ping pong? And if I would, I'll give you a shot at the summit, as long as you have a clue, obviously. But if I wouldn't have you to my house to have a glass of wine with you, you're not coming to my summit, no matter how big your list is or how talented an entrepreneur or how much money you make. And in fact, I've said no to a multitude of people who are, multi-New York Times bestselling list authors. It's like, you don't fit the culture. You will not be liked. You will not be welcomed, no matter how big your list is and what you think you could do for the people in the room. You don't fit the culture. And my wife doesn't like you, and you can't come to my house.
It's really that simple. It's funny because it reminds me of when we were looking for our very first employee in our insurance agency. We had no clue really what we were looking for. We had an idea as far as, the professional things that we wanted done, right? But as far as how do you get somebody who's cool? So we're sitting around talking about it. We're like, we just want some cool ass person to hang out with, right? Mm-hmm. So we opened up this Craigslist ad, and that's literally what we put, looking for cool ass people to work in insurance. And we got some hits, and we ended up finding somebody that is just like that, right? Because at the end of the day, I got to see you for 8 hours a day. I got to deal with you. I got to work with you. I got to expect things of you. And if you're not somebody I get along with, then I don't really want to spend that time with you or pay you to spend that time with you.
Exactly. And just on that note, to take it a step further in the JV space, which I think is similar to the entrepreneur space, is things are going to go wrong. You can count on things going wrong. And the truth is, if you aren't the kind of human being that we can sit down with and say, okay, so this went awry, how do we make it right for both of us? If we can't have that conversation that directly and that honestly, we shouldn't be joint venture partners. So we start with the foundation. Now the next piece of that is the alignment of the offer. And we teach, a proprietary process that we call the upstream downstream method. And the next piece, if that aligns, and our values are obviously aligned, then the next question becomes: a great upstream partner either causes the problem we solve, reveals the problem we solve, or diagnoses the problem that we solve. So that's who I'm looking for. I'm not looking for somebody who just has a big list. I hear this time and again. It's like, Bob had a list of 32,000 people. He mailed and I only got 52 opt-ins. Well, you weren't in the same damn industry. The copy wasn't right. The culture and the setting of the organizations wasn't the industry, and you weren't aligned, for Christ's sake. So we are always looking for who causes the problem that we solve or reveals or diagnoses it. Now, you guys are insurance. Are you, tell me what kind of insurance company you got?
So we have a lot of appointments, and we do the training for the insurance agents. So we do personal lines, commercial lines, life lines, but really it's in the training and the education side that we're in.
Okay, awesome. So in this case, and one of the reasons that I asked this, because I mean, it could be life insurance, it could be home insurance, it could be auto insurance, it could be collectibles, like there's a whole range of those pieces. But we would be really looking for a great JV partner, and this would be more for the insurance agents than for you guys who are in the training company. Would be this idea of could we have a whole cadre of real estate agents that every single time somebody moves outside of a province, and this is in Canada, it might be different in the States, every time somebody moves outside the province and they have to have their insurance updated or moved to a different broker because they're no longer in a province with the same laws, that would be a great upstream partner. Somebody moves, we know they have to do this. They already have the problem. I helped cause the problem. I moved them from Alberta to Saskatchewan. In Saskatchewan, the laws are different. You need a new insurance agent. That would be an ideal upstream partner. They quite literally cause the problem that we solve. So we're looking for that alignment. And when that alignment is together, the truth of the matter is that we can sometimes, I was on a call today in what we call our global lounge. And there's a gentleman in the healing and health and wellness area who was acknowledging one of his partners. That partner sent 12 leads. They sold 8 of them to the tune of about $220,000.
Ooh,
like that's the difference between just having a partner who's sending some traffic and having a perfectly in-stream partner who causes, reveals, or diagnoses the problem they have. Then, of course, downstream partners, they simply solve the problems that we cause when we roll out our particular training, what our particular organization, our particular solution. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And it also clarifies why you would bring this rising star. In other words, from the way you're describing it, it's almost like she has potential that she doesn't even know about. The way her business is structured, the way she operates, maybe it is her list or the problems that she's causing. I like how you call them problems that she's causing, right? But
problems, opportunities, same.
Opportunities, right? Yeah. But she doesn't know that there is a solution for that, or that there's a place to place it. So when you're sitting around as a mastermind, it's almost like you are laying out the entire process or the life cycle of a particular client, and you're just kind of placing puzzle pieces for some of these different JV partners, right?
You literally just hit the nail on the head. And in her case, because she was in media in Canada for a long time, she was actually developing a PR course about how to get free publicity through the media outlets where she had the connections in the network where she could pick up the phone and say, hey, it's Gita, such and fill in the blanks. So she brought tremendous resources that this particular community did not have access to. We're used to like paid traffic, we're used to JVs, we're used to those sorts of things. Media, and just to be clear, I'm not talking about media like a Facebook ad. I'm talking about, being on television in a traditional sense, on, those pieces. So she came in and she totally cleaned up, did stunningly well. And, I believe the exact numbers were that she went from really a standing start to about $650,000 in her first year, in large part participating in that JVology Summit and getting that wind in her sails right out of the get-go. And served and supported clients tremendously well as well.
Success can be its own hurdle as well. She might have been a rising star, but having too much business too fast can also be a problem. Is that something that you guys? Yeah, I mean, it is, right? It's a great problem to have.
Never had that.
It's a great problem to have, but it could be a problem as well, right? All of a sudden, you go from crawling to sprinting. You could fall flat on your face a couple times. How does the mastermind help? Fix or alleviate some of those problems?
Oh,
okay. We got another 2 hours. Don't worry.
Well, so do you want to hear a dumb story first?
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is where
I love those.
So in that mastermind business where we went, standing start to exploding in 14 months, we had $1 million weekend at a 3-day event that I ran.
Ooh.
And which was spectacular.
Heck yeah, it was.
It was spectacular. However, here's what transpired. When we did the offer for the premium mastermind program, which was called Lead, I thought we were going to get, maybe 12 people at this premium price point. So I said I would give everyone a half-day VIP day, which at that time, that was valued at $5,000. So it was pretty significant. I thought, if I do 12 of them, it'll really serve and support them. It'll be fantastic.
Oops.
We had almost 40 purchasers. So we had almost 40 purchasers. So here's what transpired. And by the way, just before that happened, we had joined. Do you know who Jeff Walker is? Product Launch Formula, sort of the granddaddy of digital marketing. Anyway, he has this premium mastermind called Platinum Plus, and I registered me and my partner in it for the tune of $72,000 US. And I am really looking forward to this. So I do that. We oversell my time in a spectacular fashion. And I can't even take advantage of this investment because I am buried in delivery, where we quite literally did 400% more than what we thought we were going to do. And we couldn't even show up in the big investment that we made to, use a mastermind to solve this problem. I was quite literally under a rock for almost a year, buried by delivery. So the short answer to your question is obviously I don't know.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I mean, we started off this conversation talking about how do we get into your group, and it was about, not making sure that they come in over and drink wine and that your wife approves. Right off the bat, it sounds like your wife didn't approve of your calendar being booked up, and you didn't have time for wine, man.
And at that stage game, she was managing our 2 boys, which are crazy and busy and those sorts of things. And she had no idea about any of the stuff that was going on in the business. She now is back working with me because the kids are a little bit older. But at the time, she had nothing to do with that. Anyway, the point being is that if we bring ourselves to a mastermind or to a community or to a group, this idea of scalability is served and supported in a multitude of ways. And here's a great example. We were just literally at what we call the JBLG Summit in Kananaskis, a beautiful mountain village in Canada. And in that room, 2/3 of the people in that room used one of our clients, which is called Expert Outsourcing, which, by the way, if you want great talent, I would highly recommend them. 2/3 of our room hired staff, literally, well, let me rephrase it. They hired Expert Outsourcing to hire them staff in those 2 days. So again, it goes back to who's in the room. How do we select those folks? How do we leverage and utilize those relationships to put the support in place ahead of time? Because honest to goodness, when we had that $1 million weekend, guess how large our team was?
Not big enough.
2 people,
Yeah,
me and my partner. That was it. Now, by the time that year was done, we were at 7. But it was 2 people when we started, and it was a son of a bitch. I mean, there's just no 2 ways about that. So I think if I can just go underneath your question there for a brief moment, I think the most important piece about whether it's about getting overwhelmed by too many customers or any of those pieces, I really believe that the most important decision that most entrepreneurs need to make, and most don't, is what is the joint venture community that you're going to participate in? And by the way, I'm a fervent believer, you should join ours, but if you're going to join one, you should not stop at one. If you set up your systems and your process to actually utilize joint ventures properly, you should be a member of 1, 3, 5, 7 different communities. As many communities as you and your organization can show up and participate in. Don't just buy it and not show up because I was busy under a rock. Buy it, engage, and participate. And what you'll find is that your reach and your capacity for solutions to whatever the problem is, staffing, delivery, internet, emails, all those sorts of things, it exists in the community when we show up.
Well, when you're putting together summits or the mastermind groups, are they industry specific, or are you just kind of like bringing all the fish in a barrel and then kind of lining them up?
Yes and no. It depends on what the program is. So we have a broad range of programs. At the highest level, what we call our blast off mastermind, which includes the summit I was referring to, at that level, we are doing our very best to select who is in the chair and what they bring. So that would be a conversation that I had with Gita, for example. It's like, your business isn't quite there yet, but you have the phone number of every significant media person in our entire country. That's a pretty good asset. Well, you should come. So we do a bunch of that. Who's in the chair? What do they bring? How can they accelerate the entire community, not just themselves or one or two JV partners? At the lower levels, people are really just trying to find their way. They're trying to get their list built. They're trying to get, a consistent income for them and their team and their tribe and those sorts of things. So at that stage of the game, it's more of a free-for-all. Let's meet one another. We teach them what it means to have an in-stream partner, the example I gave earlier. So then they vet, filter, and adjust, which, by the way, is what our platform that we're working on is going to help accelerate. We do that in a pretty manual process today, which is meet folks, understand, hey, I might be your upstream. This is the problem you solve. This is the problem I solve. This is what my clients are looking for next after me. So it's fairly manual. It's very profitable. But if we can even eliminate some of that, I sometimes call it kissing of frogs, trying to figure out who's the right person, right? If we can eliminate that through our platform, that's really what we will call JVology 2.0.
So it's what you're trying to automate is essentially that first interview process. It's kind of figuring out who they are and what stage of business they're in. So what makes a good venture or a good business to be part of this mastermind? Is it somebody who's, hey, I got an idea and I want to roll it out, maybe file my LLC paperwork tomorrow? Or is it somebody who's been in business for a while? Like what does a good entrepreneur look like?
It's a great question. So we actually have 3 categories, and that person could absolutely get a ton of value at JVology. There's no question. We actually have a survey before anybody really comes and does much work with us. That survey assesses where they're really at. And they fall in 3 categories. One is willing and eager. And those are the folks that are really still trying to figure it out. So they might be in the process of filing their, what we would call corporations paper, or it could be they've been in business for a while and they accidentally get customers. You know what I mean by that.
Exactly.
But they're still in the willing and eager. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to craft their offer. They're trying to figure out what their JV invitation is. They're trying to get some scale. They're trying to get some leverage. Those folks, we have a ton of service and support for. One of our core programs we call the Business Basics Breakthrough is just that runs, quite frankly, 52 weeks a year. And we support people with 4 touches a week in terms of getting that shit figured out, because it can be quicksand for a multitude of people. Then we have what we call the ready and refining. And when we started this business, we started it aimed at the ready and refining. These are folks that have an offer, it works, it generates money, but what they need is more traffic. They need more eyeballs. They need to improve their conversions. They need to refine their numbers on their opt-ins. They need to make sure that their JV invitations are in front of the right people. Now, that's where we started. Those are my favorite folks, just simply because it's like, hey, Bob, let me introduce you to Sally, and then you two go away, and then I get notes that says, hey, we just made $250,000. So that's my favorite. I love that. Yeah. And then there's what we call the experienced pros. And the experienced pros have been at the game for a whole bunch. They have 7 or 8 different offers that they can pick and choose when I put them in a summit and say, you and I should do this project here, and you and I should do this project here. And all you need to do is go to this page, fill it out. The team's going to take care of the rest of it. We're done. So we have programs, support, and structure, regardless of where you are, willing and eager, ready and refining, or experienced pros, because it's how do I put this? Every single level of business, there's a leverage component that JVs offer and a speed component that JVs offer. It's a different pathway for each 3, but it works in each of the 3, and we serve all of them.
And it's a little bit different than mentorship. It is a type of mentorship because all of a sudden everybody's got some skin in the game, but it's not exactly coaching, is it?
No. And just to be clear about this, for the willing and eager, we do a substantial amount of coaching. Like that, there's a lot there.
It's necessary.
Yeah, exactly. And then when we get to the ready and refining, it's usually more like a little consulting piece. It's like, okay, I've got a launch coming up. I have an opt-in page happening. I have an offer I'm about to do. And people pay us for consulting to look at it and say, does this work? Does this not work? All the rest of it. Part of the value of the community is they also just get to say to one another, it's like, hey, would you send test traffic and see what happens with this particular piece? Like that, honest goodness, and little sidebar.
But that's huge though. Like little test traffic, A/B testing, split testing, like there's no joke about that. Trying to refine your offer, figure out which hook is the best one, story is the best one, which offer is going to convert the best. That takes a lot of time and effort. And if you're able to fine tune that beforehand and even test it, that's huge.
So Hernan, you just hit the nail on the head, because I say this all the time and most people don't get it. It's like no lights, no landing gear. Because well, seriously, and it's like, oh, that's good. But here's the honest to God truth about it, is that the reason choosing to participate in a joint venture community is so vitally important is that we deliver a group of people that are willing to say, yes, I'll send 200 clicks and we'll test this. And you'll reciprocate that for me when I'm in that same spot. The truth of the matter is that most entrepreneurs don't have access to that for any amount of money. Mm-hmm. And when you're in the community and people understand and we're all on the same page and we're trying to actually, all one tide rises all boats, that's what happens. And when it lands, it's like, you mean I could participate in the community for like $100 a month and people would do that with and for me? It's like, yes, as long as you show up and contribute and actually keep your word about reciprocating. Like, that is worth tens of thousands of dollars, not $97 a month, for Christ's sake. Anyway, so that's the kind of thing that we do at the Ready and Refining. Then the experienced pros, quite frankly, I simply make my money by introducing the other experienced pros that can move the needle and they can go make money like that. Different for all three.
Yeah, and the other part is the time frame that you're saving people. Those people who are just getting started, they're going to be stepping in so much shit. Literally, right? Because they just don't know any better.
There's a lot of Thursdays.
It's Thursdays. They're going to be I'm so happy it's Thursdays. You're absolutely right. But it's because they don't know any better. They're trying to get started. They're thinking there's so many things that are going on. This is why the coaching is so valuable and so important. By the time they figure out that they need to split test and try out different things, years have gone by, they burn out. So you're cutting out so much time and so much stress. I mean, you're seeing so much fast success on some of these companies because they're able to align much quicker. I mean, tell me some of those early startup ones, the ones that are just getting started. Do they stick around in that very beginning process very long?
So I want to restate something that you said that I say all the time, and sometimes people are insulted by it, which is this: is that every new entrepreneur has an expiry date stamped on their forehead that they don't know what it is. And so when you were saying burnout, that's exactly what happens in the absence of support. That expiry date happens and they end up going back to a job, mortgaging the house, doing some other dumb shit that actually is ridiculous, where if they would simply choose how they are going to get some support and get moved and shaken, it makes such a monumental difference. So from our experience, here's the, how do I put this? I've been at this for a day or two. I have been an entrepreneur, frankly, my entire life, but like officially after like university and shit like that, let's call it 32 years. And
a little while.
Yeah, it's not my first canoe trip. This idea of folks at the beginning, what I see transpiring over and over and over again is what I'm gonna go on a little rant here for a brief moment. Just red card me if I get carried away. Is the bullshit of the do-it-yourself digital marketing sales is a disservice to the entire world of entrepreneurship. I'm an Infusionsoft user. I'm an Infusionsoft partner, whatever the hell it is. And no one, unless they are technically adept and it is their thing, should be running their own Infusionsoft program. That is deceitful and a lie. No one builds a ClickFunnels funnel in 3 clicks, and you're not 1 funnel away. You are 392 funnels away until one of the goddamn things works.
Yes.
So there's this deceit in this space that says everybody can do it. And here's the honest God truth is you can't. You require a team, you require strategic investment, and you need to go out and figure out what it's going to take to develop and sell your product and service. And you need to not get lost in figuring out what goddamn button makes the thing post. If you're sitting at home, any of you as entrepreneurs trying to figure out what's the right button, you're not an entrepreneur. You have fallen into a lie and a bullshit story that says you can do it all. If you're an entrepreneur, you hire somebody who knows what button it is, and you get out and you build relationships and you sell your shit.
Yep.
Those are two different things.
Well, that's not to say that you shouldn't learn about it so you can speak that language, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it yourself every single step of the way.
1000% agreed. You need to have enough education to not be bullshitted by the people you hire, and you don't do it.
I 100% agree. I just finished a whole training on a lot of that stuff too, and I was at the point right now because same thing where people keep asking about how we're doing the podcast, how we're promoting, how do we get booked out 10 weeks in advance? What are you doing for marketing? How are you doing? So finally got to the point where like, okay, let me start offering this as a service. Went through the whole training, and as I'm getting ready to launch, I'm like, nope, I am not doing all the work myself. Partnered up with a few people, and now I'm sending it in one way, watching their process and deciding if this venture is the venture that I'm going to stick with, or do I need to add some more pieces to it? But you're 100% correct. Doing it all myself, I'd have drove myself crazy. I only have 24 hours in a day, Jay. Like, come on,
you got
man.
a deck to build, man.
I got a deck to build, exactly. All right, Jay, I really enjoyed talking to you, man. Before we head out, how can people become part of either one of the three options that you're offering?
So here's the thing. I have a free gift in a little mini course, and it is called Escape the Marginal Success Trap. You and I both know the truth of this is that most entrepreneurs get a business that works well enough. They got receivables, they got clients, all those sorts of things, well enough that they can't quit it, but not well enough that they experience the freedom that they deserve. Mm-hmm. So the very first thing I would love for people to do is the link that's going along the bottom there, which is jvlg.com/success-trap. Go do that. I swear to God, it's going to take you about an hour plus or minus, 15-minute training, 5 videos where you evaluate yourself, and then a pathway to your freedom. That one piece will shift how you think about this. So that's really the first thing I'd like to just say, go do that for the love of all things good in the world, my friends. It will make a difference. Then really the next piece is if you're interested in coming and finding out what JVs really do, meeting 150 people in a live event that are interested in promoting you to their list, sharing your message, your product, your service, your experience, then you should go and do JVology Live. That is a 3-day live event you can attend from the comfort of your own home. And that event, just to put it in perspective, tickets regular $997. We're currently on early bird for $197. So quite literally, if you did nothing but went there and got one partner or had 10 people join your list, that $197 will pay it back a multitude. But the truth is, if you're sharp and you have a real business, you have a real offer, you'll end up with enough partners that will send you traffic for a year. It is pretty spectacular. Those are the best ways to find out who we are, what we do, and what our stand is.
Jay, that is fire. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how else to tell you this. If you've been listening, this is episode 829. If you've been listening to the different entrepreneurs who've been on the show, hands down, 9 times out of 10, when you ask them what is the key to success, it's going to be relationships. It's always going to be the relationships. And what Jay's offering you is an opportunity to expand your network. I try to do it the same way. I mean, I've been doing a podcast, meeting new people all the time, and my network has helped so much in my own business, in my own life. It's been amazing. I'm going to Battle of the Bands tonight out here in Solana Beach to go have fun with a bunch of people in my network because we do business together. That's how it happens. I want to go hang out with these people. I want to have wine with them. And my wife likes to hang out too. That's why she's going, Jay.
That's awesome.
So make sure you guys check out that stuff.
That's a beautiful spot, by the way. Remember I said there was 2 of us?
Yeah.
Joshua David Hayward actually used to live out in Solana Beach and Encinitas. Anyway, so you guys were neighbors probably before you knew it.
Well, I'm a little further south, but I'm heading out to Solana Beach to be part of that community today. So
that's awesome. Yeah,
man, it's going to be a good time. Ladies and gents, stop scrolling across the bottom. I couldn't even say it. jvology.com/success-trap. Go check it out. Do a little something for yourself. Today I was listening to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. That's who you got to convince. That guy right there or that gal right there that's looking at you in the mirror, that's the person you need to just say, look, what I'm doing is working, but I can do it better. I can make it better, and all you got to do is make that change. Jay, thank you very much for being on the show. I got one last question for you, my friend. What was your experience like on the Business Bros podcast?
I had an absolute blast. Totally enjoyed the energy. I totally enjoyed the questions and the conversation. I'd come back anytime.
Thank you, my friend. You heard it there, ladies and gents. All right. As always, on a Thursday, I hope you enjoy it. SHIT, so happy it's Thursday, ladies and gents. We'll see you again next time. Peace, and we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@seeusfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.